Welcome, everybody, to another brand new live episode of Spill the Tequila here on the Outlaw Nation channel. Here I am, the Outlaw Chun, joined as always by the King of Swag himself, Winston A. Marshall. How are you, Winston? What's going down, brother?
You know, this day, anybody that was there for Capes and Cows today knows I was dealing with some crazy jackhammer shit. Driving me crazy, stressing me out. My poor lady had a job interview. She's trying to get her stuff done. Like I was about ready to fight. And then I sent this message to my building manager. Like I wrote some shit out.
Yeah.
And like the hood was coming out of me with what I was writing. So then I was like, I literally was like, Apple Intelligence, can you go ahead and tell me what the professional way to say this was? And some of the N-words and all that stuff got pulled out, and they were like, I feel like this was extremely disrespectful for the way that you equivocating with my time. Like, just however it fucking worded, I was like, wow. AI works.
Hey, respect equivocating. You don't hear that one too often. That's amazing. Equivocating.
Oh my god!
You gotta respect it. Yeah. Apple Intelligence coming through, always in the clutch for those kinds of things. But we are excited here to be back for the show. I know normally we do the show on Tuesdays, but there was so much happening this week and just kept getting pushed and pushed and pushed. And then today we decided to do it live today here at 5:30 p.m. PT. Thanks to everybody who's joining us now right off the bat. We got so much to get into here, talking about stuff from the world of entertainment that dropped today. That dropped new stuff that dropped today. We're going to get into, and some of the older stuff that Winston already covered on Capes and Cows. So we'll do all of it. So remind you all to please remember that the Streamlabs and Superchats are open. Send in your love, send in your questions, thoughts, and comments. We'll read them near the end of the show. But let's deal with the big one here, Winston, right off the bat. I know you already talked about it on Capes and Cows, but I want to hear from you on this one personally, and that is Matt Reeves' script is done. The Batman Part 2. Here it is. What a picture, right? I just like swaggering all through this thing, saying partners in crime, fighters. Yuck, yuck, yuck. There is Matt Reeves in the background with his co-writer Madison Toblin. The first page of the script is blurred out, as you can see there, but there is very clearly a Batman logo on the top, the old school Batman logo there from the Batman movie. And so this is happening after several delays. The sequel is now scheduled for October 1st of 2027, 5.5 years. That's hard to believe that it'll come out 5.5 years after the original after the Batman made over $770 million in the global box office. I'm just glad that we're going to we're going to not have to hear about Matt Reeves' nuts anymore. And the script has been turned in. It is going to happen. It seems like, but what are your thoughts on this, man? Because I mean, the rumors were that it was coming in June. Some people said Memorial Day. It did make it in by June by about 3 days. So there it is. And right before Superman's about to come out here, Winston. So what are your thoughts on all this?
I mean, I'm glad that we actually got a script. That's the first part. Because I know there was some fear about if we were about to get bladed. Truthfully. We talked about it on the show. I mean, my favorite part about this entire saga, from the entire thing, is James Gunn being like, yo, how about you get off Matt Reeves' nuts and let him cook? I was like, what? When did James Gunn become a 19-year-old black kid? I'm what? But we're here now. I am so happy to hear that they got it where they like it. If I had to guess, maybe they get it by Halloween next year like they had planned, but that would mean if the script is good, you need to fast track everything. If you're really gonna make it happen.
It looks like only 2 years from now, though. Winston, they're saying right now, October 1st, 2027. Do you think they would move it up?
I forgot. It got pushed to 27?
Yeah. 2027.
I don't know why I still thought it was 26. So, okay, if it's already pushed to 27, then take your time. Then that's fine. It is what it is. What I'm interested about, though, is this. Since it's officially done, what do we do in regards to the DCU? Are we pulling Pattinson into this? Are we going to go get another Batman? We were kind of talking about it one way or the other. I think the only way that it would honestly work to have two Batmen running simultaneously. I think there really has to be an age difference here. And I think that I know Robert Pattinson is pushing 40, but he still looks like he's ambiguously looking like he's 29 to 35, somewhere in that range.
They
were already talking about having the Brave and the Bold Batman be older because Damian is around. Like,
right.
Not old, but older. So like probably late 30s, early 40s. I think you want to make sure Pattinson remains looking, however you got to do it with prosthetics or makeup or whatever, remains looking young and keep that saga really distinct from then. I'm not saying put in Jeff Goldblum, but like, you know what I'm saying? Where like if the person just looks significantly older than Pattinson.
Right.
So I just can't think of a 40-year-old actor right now or someone that looks 40.
Well, I mean, Pattinson is 40. John Hamm is old.
Did he already turn 40?
He's 39. I mean, come on, we're splitting hair.
No, I get it. But by the time they're finished 2 years from now, he's gonna be 42.
He's going to be 42. He's going to be almost middle-aged. Let that sink in. But listen, I know a lot of people have been coming after me for my James Gunn takes, which is hilarious. I disagree with you on the nuts thing because the only person on his nuts was David Zaslav, James Gunn, and Peter Safran. So he should have just been talking to his people. Nobody was mad at Matt Reeves for not turning in the script. Nobody was going after
hounding him. No, they may not have been mad.
They were hounding James Gunn to tell us what is really going on with Batman. They weren't hounding him to finish the script. That's a fabricated narrative that Gunn created to put as a shield for him.
He's such a hater, bro. He's such a hater because so we're just not gonna get the Batman. We're just gonna ignore the greatest superhero movie of all time, the greatest Batman movie that ever happened. You're just not gonna give us a sequel. When's the goddamn sequel? He got a family member that's sick. I don't give a fuck about that. Where's my goddamn Batman? Like, bro, it was every day. It wasn't Snyder, bro, bad, but it was bad.
I didn't see any of that on any of my feeds. I didn't see anybody going, Matt, write the movie. It was more like, James, what the fuck is up with Batman? Give us a straight answer. That's what people were clamoring about. But I take your point. What you saw was different than what I saw. And I'm not hating on James. I'm just pointing certain things out in certain comments that are self-serving. And that's kind of where I go with all of this. But that being said, it doesn't matter. What matters is there is a script. Now the question is, what happens next? And Winston, I think you hit it right on the head. What are the plans for Batman now? Now we have a script. Now officially, the Batman Part 2 has entered the arena. So where are we going with this? Because already it's further ahead than Batman Brave and the Bold. What are the answers going to be from James Gunn and DC and Safran and Zaslav about what's next with their approach? And that's the thing. We're kind of in the dark. And I know I love people going, they don't owe us anything. Sure, fine. We're the ones that pay the money to go see these things. So maybe they owe us a little bit of information about what's going on. So I would like to know what is happening here to find out where we're going with this Batman situation. But even with the script in, I think things are still up in the air. They're not sure where they're going to go with this, I imagine. But at some point, hopefully, we'll hear a concrete plan about what the steps are for the Batman. Because you can't have two Batman running concurrent. It just throws people off. And so I just don't see the logic.
You can, but it's gonna be more of a yes. I just got asked because we're doing Spill the Tequila if I would like a strawberry margarita. So I was like, yes, I would. Thank you, baby. She got some new glass. She got some new glassware. She definitely wants to party a little bit. We had a rough day. My
lady's at the fair, at the San Diego County Fair. So
nice. Oh yeah, man, I haven't been to a fair in a minute.
I don't go to fairs.
Hey, I'm an outlaw. I don't do that fishing rides. You think I get excited about shit?
Come on. I just lost 40 pounds. I don't need fried Twinkies anywhere near me, man. So I stay away from the fair or funnel cakes.
Fried Twinkie won't kill you.
Come on, it might. It might.
It might.
But we're happy, right? But we're happy, aren't we, Winston? We're happy. There's a script. Now it's like, okay,
that's
what's
the important part,
right?
That's the important part. It's just give us a. But what I hope is now that there's a script.
Yeah.
I hope people just let it go. We don't need news on who the Batman is for the DCU. For being honest, we don't need it right now. Focus on Superman. That's the only thing that matters. Superwoman's coming soon thereafter. I think once we get to the point, once we get the official announcement that the Batman Part 2 is in production, if you want to answer the question of who Batman is in the DCU, fine, go for it. I think people got to chill now and not worry about that because we have other things that are coming up. I am the most excited project the project I'm most excited for from DC right now is actually Lanterns. I'm obviously excited about Superman, but I'm hit or miss with Superman as a character personally.
Right.
But I am excited about what they're about to do. Lanterns, just by how it's been presented, I am so much more intrigued about what that project will ultimately be. Every time a report comes out, like, this just keeps getting better and better. Like, it's the cast, the people that are actually writing it, the people that are directing it, what the storyline is of while we don't have direct details, it's like, hey, there's some shit kind of going on in the real world here on Earth, and it's pretty grounded and very True Detective. And then we take it cosmic and keeping that vibe.
Yeah.
What's not to like about that, you know? So all of that, especially because we have had good Superman movies before. It may have been a long time, but we've had them. Yes. We've had good Batmans before. We have yet to have a good Green Lantern. That's the whole thing, is that we had one shot at this and it was trash. So I'm more interested in seeing what Kyle Chandler, Clear Eyes, Full Hearts Can't Lose, and Aaron Pierre, that's Mufasa, like what the two of them collectively and the team behind it can do with that.
That's a great point. Lanterns does look like a lot, because I think Laura Linney's in Lanterns as well. So you've got yourself a hell of a cast. So it's an exciting one to look forward to. And you might be right. That might be the one that like a lot of people have an affinity for, because Superman, already I can tell from the online stuff, it's going to be a divisive movie. There's going to be people coming after it, people loving it no matter what's on the screen, and people hating it no matter what's on the screen. And somewhere in the middle will probably be a majority of people. So we'll see what that's all about. I think the Batman Part 2, people are very excited for it, and they hope it happens, and they hope it comes through. Because listen, just because the script is finished doesn't mean a movie is going to end up happening or they're going to finish the movie. We'll see what happens with all that, because there's still all those rumors about Warner Brothers possibly being sold, that Zaslav is cutting off and streamlining and doing all the things that he's doing in order to sell Warner Brothers at some point. So what happens if he does sell it? Does the DC stay intact, or do they start all over again? So we've got so many other factors roaming on behind the scenes. But yes, Superman is a sure thing. Supergirl is a sure thing. Lanterns is a sure thing. And Clayface is shaping up to be a sure thing. And we'll see what happens with the Batman Part 2 and the other Batman stuff coming up down the road. We shall see.
It's okay.
Oh, nice.
Oh, yeah. Real tequila, too. Shit.
Spill it.
God damn. That's good as hell.
Fair enough. Scott says you'd be crazy not to make a sequel to a movie that made $770 million. Well, I mean, where's the line on that? Because the last night, the Michael Bay Transformers film made $650 million. They didn't do a sequel to that. So where's the line on it? But yes, absolutely, you'd have to be crazy not to do it. So we'll see what happens with that. All right, let's move on to another thing here. Winston, this is kind of in your wheelhouse, real like Akira, right? Akira, as Emma Fife once taught me how to say it.
Akira.
The rights are up for grabs, apparently, as this project is now leaving Warner Brothers after more than 2 decades. Speaking of WB, 2 decades of trying to develop a live-action take on the Japanese sci-fi classic Akira. Warner Brothers has let go of the movie rights. They've reverted back to Kodansha, the manga publisher that first put out this cyberpunk story by Katsuhiro Otomo back in 1982. Apparently, producers and talent are said to be lining up to attach themselves to this whole situation. So what do you think here, Winston? Taika Waititi's project is gone now. It's going to be open to anybody to come in here and bid for it. Yes.
What I think is I am actually very impressed with your pronunciation and shit, bro. You were flying through that.
Yeah, listen, I'm a Japanophile. I love a lot of Japanese movies. You? Yes, massively so.
I honestly didn't know that. We should talk about this more, bro, because that is like I got to pick an elective while I was studying abroad there, and of course I picked the film elective. All we did was watch the Seven Samurai and like all of the classic fucking films, the starting at Kaiju, like all. Oh man, we'd go for a while.
Come on.
Anyway,
Criterion is having a 50% off sale at Barnes & Noble right now. Go get all those Japanese movies, people. All the Kurosawa stuff. It's 50% off. Go get it. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
In the store, I got it, or online.
On in the store and online for Barnes & Noble. Yeah.
All right, let me go ahead and cue that up for later. But to answer your question, I mean, it bums me out that it's not happening, but at the same time, if I'm being honest, anime and manga translations to live action have been more failures than they have been successes, in the same way that video games are. Now, at a certain point, somebody's going to have to figure out the formula. And it seems like we started to with video games. So like they figured it out with Sonic. They figured it out with Mario. They figured it out with Five Nights at Freddy's. So like we are getting there. One day someone will truly figure out how to translate anime or anime style films into live action films. Right. But hell, we can't even necessarily agree that translating Disney animated films is working properly. Like the first live action adaptation that I was like, that was phenomenal, wasn't even Disney. It was How to Train Your Dragon. That's the other movie I got to do the review on. I fucking forgot. Excuse my language. But that's, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's a part of me that's like, that sucks. And there's another part of me that's like, well, maybe this isn't necessarily a bad thing. So I hope one day that they can figure it out and someone can have some real vision for it and make it happen. But I am not so heartbroken over it, because the only positive anime adaptation I can think of off the top of my head, like live action, is like the One Piece show. Right. Every other, like Death Note was trash, and I love that anime. Dragon Ball Evolution was awful. That may have been one of the worst movies I've ever seen, and it feels like the worst adaptation I've ever seen. So I'm not super torn up about it, but I would love it if they could eventually figure it out. And then as far as Warner Bros. Giving it up, dude, everything is in flux. The minute they said we're splitting our shit up, they are not in a good place. They obviously are hoping that Superman can pull them out of their fats out of the fire. But they are not in a good place right now.
No, that's a good point. So some other adaptations. You mentioned One Piece, but there was also Cowboy Bebop. That show was not good.
Nope.
The Ghost in the Shell one got a lot of crap, even though I don't think that's a bad movie. I do understand the whitewashing and the issue there. Alita Battle Angel is kind of like a 7 out of 10 type of movie, so not as strong. Speed Racer is probably the one that a lot of people enjoy, that rare one that people enjoy.
It became a cult classic. People were shitting on Speed Racer when Speed Racer was out, but then once you actually gave it some time, people were like, that was actually pretty good, bro. I don't really remember the movie, because when I went to see it was my early days of smoking weed, and so I hit a blunt a little too hard, and I was in there, and I passed out, and I woke up, and I just saw Speed jumping out in colors, and I was like, oh my God, what's happening?
Oh no. But I had no idea this thing had been in development hell for so long. I mean, it's been 23 years it's been at Warner Brothers. Stephen Norrington was supposed to direct the first adaptation with John Peters. That's Stephen Norrington from Blade. But then League of Extraordinary Gentlemen ate dirt, and so they took it away from him. But they spent millions into the 8 figures over the next 2 decades trying to get this thing to live action. Legendary was brought on with Leonardo DiCaprio and Jennifer Davison coming on. Then here are the writers that have gone through trying to do a pass on this. Gary Whitta, Mark Fergus, Steve Kloves, the Hughes brothers, Jean Michelet Serra, and then you've had Tommy Lee Edwards, Chris West, and Ray Lai do concept art and storyboards. And yeah, it's been going on for quite some time. There were production offices in Vancouver that were open and then shut down after they spent a bunch of money trying to put this thing in motion. Garrett Hedlund was supposed to start. They had moved it from Japan to New York to call it New Manhattan City or something like that. Kristen Stewart, Helena Bonham Carter, and Ken Watanabe were apparently in negotiations for a few years trying to make this thing happen. So it was on, and they even had a release date for it at some point on May 22nd, 2021. It was going to be opposite John Wick Chapter 4, but then it didn't come to pass. And then Taika Waititi's one just eventually, he started 2017 and just eventually, really over the last year, has been moved off of it. So 8 years he was in production trying to make this thing happen, or in development trying to make this thing happen. So it's clearly a franchise or property that people like. It's just, and a lot of creative people are attracted to try and do something, but they haven't been able to put it together. So I'll be curious to see where it lands. And I'm not sure where it should go. I don't trust Sony to do a good job with it. And I mean, maybe, I don't know. Where would you go with this? I mean, Disney, I guess, but are they really going to explore the darker edges of Akira? I don't know if they'll do it effectively. What do you think?
If you do it under Fox. Remember, Disney owns everything. They can easily transition that over to Fox and let 20th Century handle that.
Yeah, that's a good point.
That's like the scary thing about a monopoly. On the one hand, the cool thing is like, hey, that means you can do a lot of shit. On the other hand, it means, damn, you're in charge of everything.
You could do a lot of shit. Yeah, exactly. That's a good point. Yeah, we'll look back for it. So we'll see. We'll see what happens there with Akira. But it's one of my it's probably my favorite anime. Well, I think Ghost in Shell is my favorite, but Akira is right behind it. But again, I'm not as schooled.
Princess Mononoke.
Yeah, Mononoke is great. I'm not as schooled on anime as other people, but certainly those two are the ones that I go back to all the time. All right, I gotta get your thoughts on this because this is funny. Let's stay in the video game / anime realm. Have you seen the new cast for Street Fighter, the live action Street Fighter movie?
I've heard about a new did Andrew Schultz, my guy? I heard about 50 Cent. They added Andrew to be who?
Yes, so 50 Cent is playing Balrog. Already
I would have guessed. I would have guessed that.
And apparently he's undergoing intense martial arts training because he wants to do his own stunts. 50, come on, dog.
I mean, remember he was supposed to be. You know the whole story of kind of the name shuffle, right? So that they wouldn't get sued back in the day.
No, please.
So Balrog was supposed to be M. Bison. Like his name was going to be, and so what it was is because Balrog is very clearly Mike Tyson.
Yeah,
they didn't want to get in trouble, so M. Bison, the name, got moved over, and then they took the name Balrog. I'm trying to remember what name they pulled off, but it was like a 3-name switch.
Yeah,
and so yes, he's essentially training to become an even crazier Mike Tyson.
But as I put up there, Jason Momoa is playing Blanca, who will be painted in slime green and roaring like a monster. Noah Centineo, who we saw in Black Adam, is going to be playing Ken. Andrew Schultz is playing Dan Hibiki, a character famous for being
Dan. Okay, that's actually hilarious, and that's actually a good fucking thing. I actually like that. I go back and forth with Schultz, but that's actually a perfect character for Schultz to play as Dan Hibiki.
He's supposed to be the most annoying fighter in the Street Fighter roster. So yes, I would agree.
Get anything down. His Hadouken. Sorry, his Hadouken is essentially like an ED version of Hadouken, where like Ken and Ryu shoot a fireball. His just goes whack. Like it barely goes an inch and then falls down. I am so here for this.
That's perfect. Then you got Roman Reigns playing Akuma, a demonic martial arts warlord cursed with godlike power. And then Orville Peck, a masked country singer who is openly gay, will now be playing Vega, the masked narcissistic Spanish assassin. Andrew Koji is playing Ryu, and Kalina Liang is playing Chun-Li. And there's even rumors that Eric Andre, and this from Jeff on the hot mic, Snyder on the hot mic, to star as the bombastic ring announcer. Eric Andre will be playing that, and of course, we just saw Eric Andre in Ironheart. So that is situation. And then Walton Goggins is supposed to play the main villain. However, Winston, this was supposed to be under the Philippou brothers, who did bring her back recently and Talk to Me. I love Talk to Me, but they stepped away from it, and now Kitao Sakurai is the one who is directing this. However, there is no writer because they removed it off their March 2026 release calendar. So there's no writer, no distributor, and production yet is supposed to go into production in August in Australia. So this is a madhouse of a project that's being put together, and I have no idea if it's going to work, man, because that's crazy cast.
Nuts. That's absolutely nuts. I hope they figure it out. I hope they get this right, because I actually really liked the new Mortal Kombat. I'm interested to see what they do with 2. Was it my favorite movie? No, but like as we were talking about the improvement on video game movies, they were smart about it in that they were like, because I think about like Sonic. It's still focused around Sonic, but you were smart to go get James Marsden and Tika Sumpter to essentially play the human counterparts that give you that human element, but still focus. I think that's why I didn't like Knuckles, is because I didn't decide to watch the Knuckles show so I could watch Adam Pally just be a doofus. I wanted to watch a show about Knuckles with the side of Adam Pally like we did with Sonic and the side
Right.
of James Marsden and Tika Sumpter. So same thing. Mortal Kombat gave us an original character, so we got to follow the characters we know and love, but had somebody as a lens. I think Street Fighter kind of should do potentially the same thing. Maybe there's somebody who's covering these street fights as a reporter, or maybe there's a new fighter that we're just learning about and they can always add them to the game, the next Street Fighter game or something. Right. But I like the cast so far. It's just a lot of heavy hitters. God, if this movie bombs though, if this is being like a Valentine's Day or a New Year's Eve, bro, I swear to God.
This feels like a Mortal Kombat all over again, because I went to the set visit in Australia. So they love to shoot these adaptations down in Australia. So be curious to see what the end result, but this is a crazy cast. There's gonna be legendary tales of the shit they got into behind the scenes with this cast. I imagine there'll be 2 or 3 fisticuffs with Andrew Schultz at some point from some of the cast. So it's going to be curious to see where all of this plays itself out and how the reaction is going to be when you put this much testosterone in one room or on one set. There's bound to be a lot of posturing and chests being puffed out. I mean, Momoa to me is the odd one out on this one. Momoa doesn't need to do a film like this. He is.
But why are you talking about it like it's going to be a bad film?
I mean, the odds are
the odds are that's a powerhouse cast. If you get a good writer, what's to stop this movie from actually being fantastic? Bro, we haven't even gotten our Chun-Li yet. I can't wait to see who Chun-Li is, but I tell you right now, if she is not willing to get said thighs, or if she does not already have them, I'm like,
that's a good point.
Those are the thighs that launched a million fighting games. Like you can't. That's like an automatic. It'd be like if you went and got Blanc and you're like, nah, he's not green, bro. We're just gonna make him a regular ass dude with wild hair. What is wrong with you? He is literally a Brazilian experiment gone wrong. He needs to be green. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, make my man's green. Don't F that up. And don't F up Chun-Li's thighs.
You are here for Chun-Li's thighs.
That's why I'm really here. That's the whole bro. Like that's why I'm here. Like, and for those that aren't familiar, so the big switch with the names.
Hold on a second. Before we jump into that, we got to give some reference, the framing reference for those are thick. THICC.
Those are toys, bro. Look, if that's how I go, I'm okay. Like that's if that's how I die, that's okay.
Speaking of Joy Taylor, we'll get to talk about her later. But those are thighs. Those are thighs, man. Those are thighs. Anyway,
she's cast.
Who's that?
That's from the Legend of Chun-Li. She better not. It better not be that woman. Oh wow! No, who is this? Did you already mention this?
Kalina
you already mentioned her. Okay, hold on. Let me look this woman up.
I guarantee you, she's a Hollywood actress. She's not going to have those thighs. I can put money on it.
And she better get to work. Look, I've been doing kettlebell swings every day, and I was doing them wrong. I was actually doing kettlebell squats, and my thighs got bigger in just 4 days. So she can do it. I believe in her. Let's see. Oh no. Oh baby, you so small.
I mean, well, you know.
No. Maybe they gotta start doing squats. God damn it.
Maybe they can put prosthetic thighs on her. Maybe they'll put prosthetic thighs. I don't know.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, Jesus
I mean,
Christ.
you know, these are they're not the thickest, but maybe they're not going for that. You know?
All I know is I had cousins who they didn't play video games at all. But they were always down to play because they were like, you know, I'm a thick girl and she a thick girl. She know how to throw it around. I was like, yes, yes.
Okay, I didn't know there was a thing. I honestly did not know there was a thing. I'm not as versed in the Street Fighter mythology as I am with other games. So the idea that her thighs were that big of a deal, I did not know that.
It's because her signature move is that her consistent like rapid fire kick that people would cheese back in the day.
Right.
In the same way with Ed Honda, he would do his like over and over again. It's one of her like staple moves. And to that point, like you showed a more recent photo of her. You go look at all of the OG drawing. It's the same thing. It's like, God damn.
So here's the actress who's playing her. Those are her current thighs.
Beautiful, but
gorgeous. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, those aren't the thighs that you see in the pictures. For God's sake,
even the old school. Like I'm trying to pull up the old like pixel like 8-bit just so you can see what I'm talking about. Like, hold on, let me find this. I'm gonna get you a good old photo so you can see what I'm talking about, because they certainly did not skimp around now. Like
this show is amazing because we never know what it is that's gonna spark this conversation and moment. Here's the cosplay version. I think Winston would be on board with this. This is the cosplay version, like that. Now we're talking, right?
Yes. No, she killed somebody, and you could tell that's not fat. Those are muscular thighs, because look at when she's fully standing.
Right,
you can see how toned they are. Yes, can she act? That's the question. Can she act? If not, can you train the young lady that was cast how you did that? Was it the ropes? Did you do the ropes? That's hilarious. More for your back.
Adam's just commenting on this feels like a minefield. LOL.
Oh my goodness. It kind of is, and I'm sure at some point somebody is going to use this against me.
Oh,
and
sure.
If this is what takes me down, thick thighs save lives. All right. I've been a big boy for a while, so I got thick thighs. All right. It's just respect for my kind. That's all.
Yes. Oh, I see. Oh, Jesus. Is that? Oh my God!
Did you go and find another photo?
I think those are just artist adaptations, right?
Let me see. Hold up.
This can't be a real one.
I can tell you if it is or not. I've played this game for a very long time.
These are too big. Here. Those are.
No. That's insane. That's crazy. That is absolutely insane. But here, I will show you. Here, this is the evolution over the years.
Okay. Oh, wow. I had no idea this was a thing. I'll
wait till you pull it up, and then you can see. You can even see that's the very first rendering already. My girl is out here in these streets. Now, what I did notice about the most recent adaptation, that now I feel like you're taking it too far. It always seemed like she maybe has some sort of like leggings on, like some tights. Now it just looks like she just butt ass naked underneath that dress in the far right. And I'm like, come on, guys, you got to do her like that.
It's swinging.
You can at least put tights on my girl. But
somebody said get The Rock to play her.
Oh man, we got so sidetracked.
Yeah, I know, we're in trouble. All right. So we'll see what happens with this debacle of a movie, because I do not expect much from that particular film. Another big bit of news that dropped as we're just about to start the show here, when it's about an hour or two before the show, is that Daniel RPK reported that Sony is now putting all their Spider-Man spin-off movies on hold. Now, some of this was reported back in January from some of the scoopers and what have you, but this is like from Daniel RPK, who's been kind of knocking out of the park lately. So this is the situation, that they are pausing all the Spider-Man reboots now. And I think Comics Explained retweeted this out, and I think he said that this is possibly because they're about to sell the Spider-Man universe to Marvel, to Disney. That may be the reason they're pausing everything, is because they're lining up the sale of the Spider-Man characters and universe and all this stuff to Sony. What do you
give them all back their toys? Stop making this negotiation. And if you really want to get tricky with it, you set it up where it's like, all right, you can have back Spidey on film. We gonna keep the video game stuff though, because we be cooking with that shit.
That's
because
the animated version and the animated, right?
Animated is Disney. You're talking about, but that's feature rights. I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's feature rights. I get that, and I would say, I don't know if they had more planned outside of what was supposed to be movie number 3.
Right.
So there's that. But all that being said, pull that photo back up of that you had for the story.
Hold on.
Because I just want to point something out as far as like them selling it. No, I mean, you can go back to that one if you want.
No.
I see there representing these 4 photos representing 6 movies. I see 2 out of 6 good movies. I see a 33%, bro.
Yeah.
Because the 3 on the right, all dog water, just absolute trash. So and bad. Venom, in my opinion, I would say 1 and 2. I know people don't like 2, so people would say like 1 and 3, and that's it. Otherwise, this has been a failed experiment, in my opinion.
Oh, 100%. I think you're 100% right. But I also think that this suggestion that they are possibly lining up to sell this over to Marvel makes a lot of sense as well. Because listen, you don't want to damage the brand by constantly making terrible spin-off movies from your Spider-Man universe, because then people might not care as much that you're going to do a Spider-Man, nor will they expect that you're going to do a good job. So why not give it some love? I mean, we'll see what they're going to do with X-Men, and Fantastic Four is right around the corner. If they can do for and they've already shown a track record for doing great stuff with the Spider-Man movies, can they now kind of repair a little bit of the damage that's been done with these spin-off movies by doing their own version? Having their Kraven show up, their Rhino show up, their Madam Web. There's so much rich stuff in the Spider-Man universe from the comic books that the Sony has really pissed away. So what can you do with this to redeem it? Morbius, like there's so many of these spinoffs that they can absolutely do more justice to under the Marvel banner. I mean, and I know Marvel's shaky right now. I get it. But Thunderbolts was good. A Fantastic Four is good. Some people are liking Ironheart, some people aren't, but it's getting better responses than I think a lot of people anticipated. So like there could be a slow kind of turning of the ship, this massive ship a little bit in a more positive direction. Even the new Captain America Brave New World debuted #1 by a long shot in terms of streaming movies this week. So on Disney Plus. So that tells you there's still a massive interest in Marvel. So why not sell the Spider-Man stuff to Marvel to kind of redeem the brand,
Especially if you can take a step back and be honest with yourself and being like, we fucking this up, bro.
We fucked this up.
We are not doing this justice right now. We're getting slammed. They're not making money. We kept trying to pretend. And then they would say, what pissed me off is they would do some marketing where they'd be like, because I had a friend who was in Madam Web, and I was proud of him and the work he did, but obviously I don't say to his face how bad the movie is because I love him, but I'm just like, but he's like, yeah, man, your boy in the MCU, and I wanted to be like, actually, you're not even remotely close to the MCU. I literally almost hit him with that one time, but I was like, I don't need to ruin his fun. Let me let
show
him
me
live.
Show me the paycheck, and then I'll let you know if you're in the MCU or not.
Actually, if you look at any of the movies here, there's only been 2 out of this entire thing that have made a crossover into the MCU, and that would be Spider-Man, who's actually never shown up in any of these movies. And then Venom, who was really there just for a post-credit scene before he got zipped back. Otherwise, none of this is related.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is the smart move. We'll see if they actually do it, because Tom Rothman can be quite a stubborn person, and I can't remember the guy, Tony. I can't remember the guy that's underneath him that handles the Spider-Man stuff, but he's been saying that it's the critics who are bashing these movies and causing them not to do well and not their quality. And it's like, come on, man, we all got to live in reality at some point, pal. And certainly, if they're crashing and burning these spinoffs and getting destroyed by the critics and not doing well at the box office, then you got to read the writing on the wall. And so hopefully this is a thing they do decide to do, but we'll see what happens with it. You just never know with that situation.
Cause like I'm looking at this. Yeah. So Kraven, 110 budget. Yeah. There's no way that the final box office was 60 million. Is that real?
Yeah. 60 million.
Yeah. Okay. Venom, The Last Dance, 110. Made 474. The Venom movies are the only ones that have made them any money. But they kept making less and less each time.
Yeah.
Because then Venom 2, which was post-pandemic at 110, still made 500. But the OG, the reason why they're like, wait, keep going, is because Venom OG was 116 and made 856. So that makes sense.
That was the big one. That was the big one. Yeah.
But Morbius, $75 million budget, and you ended up hitting 162.
Yeah.
So throw in marketing and the fact that you released it a second time.
Yeah, which was
ain't no money off of that. And then Madam Web had an $80 million budget, and they pulled 100 at the worldwide box office. Again, assuming the kind of standard that in order to make a profit, you got to hit about 160, about double your production budget. You ain't even come close. So
you blew a movie with Dakota Johnson, Sydney Sweeney, and Isabella Merced. Like, let that sink in, because that's bad. All three of those ladies are separately going to be big stars, if not already big stars. So to me, that's the one they really took the bath on, because they had no business messing that fucking movie up, and they did terribly.
Opening weekend for Madam Web was 15 million, and for Craven was 11.
Yeah,
put it to bed. Like, give me Beyond the Spider-Verse and let it go.
Yeah, and the fact that Craven is the last one, I think, is a perfect ending to the Sony spinoff versus Spider-Man.
Bro, with damn Rhino out here with eczema. Like, if I knew that my itchy ass eczema would have given me the ability to flip Jeeps, I would have stopped trying to like cure it. I would have been like, fine. But otherwise, all it is of course he was out here trying to kill Craven. He was mad as hell. His shit itched.
Yeah, I feel so bad for Alessandro Nivola, because he's such a good actor, and he just got wasted in that film, and he got kind of wasted in Many Saints of Newark, which I think was only a middling film that was connected to The Sopranos. And so he's such a good actor. It's just a shame to see him not quite nail the big stuff that he needs to be into. He was even in Jurassic Park 3, and that wasn't the best of the installments.
I mean, look, they had moments. I mean, Craven had the first 10, 15 minutes, which I thought was great.
Yeah.
You had the Matt Smith dance in Morbius, which was fun.
Adria Arjona in that one in Morbius.
I personally liked Venom both at the casino and Venom dancing in the house party. Those are both hilarious to me.
Eddie.
Eddie, I need more tips.
I'm tripping balls, Eddie. Yeah, exactly. That kind of stuff. Well, let's stay in the world of Marvel. Let's get into this big conversation here, Winston. Ironheart is out. The first 3 episodes here, starring a pretty fantastic Dominique Thorne. The reactions to this show have kind of spanned the gamut. Mostly, it's been received well from critics and reviewers and pundits for the most part, especially the ones who've seen all 6 episodes. They say the last 3 episodes are really good, and it gets better as the series goes along. But again, it's one of these shows like Echo that falls into the trap of only being 6 episodes. And so there have been some conversations, and people have come after the show. I've seen your tweets, which is why I wanted to talk about this. Like, what are your feelings about the show, and then how people are addressing the Tony Stark connections, and having one set of rules for one side, one set of rules for the other? What do you think? What's your thoughts on all of this?
You know, that to me is, I think, the problem. I think we know the answer as to why, because one of the things that I've seen a lot of people are loving to slam, oh, she's a criminal, she's a murderer, she's this, that, and the other. And again, the thing that I was saying in my tweets is I was directly always comparing Tony Stark, where I was like, okay, Tony Stark was he was the merchant of death. That's what they called him when he got kidnapped in the cave.
He was selling
because
weapons.
He was out here selling these weapons, mass murdering people. And then he realized, holy crap, this is not good. I should stop doing this, and then made an about face. But let's take it beyond that. Let's say that's it may be immoral, but that's legal, right? Scott Lang was literally a convicted felon and was about to rob somebody yet again, and got the opportunity to be like, I'm gonna help you change your life around, bro. And then started to turn his life around. So my question is what people wanted, a story of And here is Riri. She's already a hero and does the right thing all the time because that's what a hero's journey is. No growth whatsoever. No, it would make logical sense that you're talking about somebody that doesn't come from means, that has had, despite her intelligence, has had so much taken away from her. Yeah. And in a desperate attempt to deal with her trauma, is doing whatever it takes. She keeps saying, a lot of people are like, well, she just keeps saying, I'm just building it because I can. I'm like, and that's where I'm like, okay, so your media literacy ain't there. They keep cutting back to the flashback of her stepdad and her sister. And how spoilery are we going?
We could say to people, hey, I tell you what, I'll put the graphic up. We'll have to adjust our cameras a little bit. I'll put the graphic. Sure. We're doing a little spoiler talk on Ironheart, the first 3 episodes. So if you want to fast forward maybe 5-10 minutes, and then we'll be out of this. But like, I wanted to give Winston a forum to talk about this stuff. So
I
go
appreciate
ahead.
it. I do. Yeah. She keeps having flashbacks to the day that 2 of the most important people in her life were taken away from her because of gun violence. Yeah. And so this, I just want to build it because I can, is not true. Especially if you look at Wakanda Forever and the idea that she held onto that car, and we were trying to figure out, why is this car so special? She never, I can't remember if she ever says it one way or the other, but we get in the flashback, it is the car that her stepdad was actually building. And so that's why the car is so damn important to her, is because it was a totem that she had for that. And she says about her dad, Tony Stark, as my stepdad was an engineer and a mechanic, he looked up to Tony and what he was able to do. So I got even more invested in some of the stuff that Tony built, seeing he was another kid genius like I was. Right. And then on top of that, because 2 people were murdered, the reason she keeps doing it, and she talks about it in episode 3, is purely for her to try and make it so nobody else close to her or from her neighborhood or anything like that is going to end up dead. Right. And then people want to be like, well, she had no business, because she's sticking her nose everywhere and trying to take the cape. She out here murdering one guy, and then she taking the cape, the hood for her to do whatever. And it's like, okay. So then the follow-up to that question is, she first asked, is anyone going to get hurt? Yes, I need the money, but is anybody going to get hurt? And they said, no, we don't do that. So she said, all right, fine. You guys are you're going to pay a lot of money. I can do what I need to do to protect others. Fine, I'll do that. And then she watched one person in the crew get murked. And then she saw this guy being more than willing, to straight up shoot a guard. And she was beside herself. And so now she's like, oh, they lied. They're genuinely not good. They're actually probably dangerous. So now she's trying to figure it out so that she is ready if they turn on her. They already tried to murder her as an audition. Right, so all of it makes logical sense as far as how a character would develop if they were processing their trauma. Right. And to not give Riri the same space, if you want to talk about pacing, I do think the pacing was not the best as far as the 3 episodes.
That's my issues. Yeah.
I'll give you that all day. But I genuinely think we just wanted to, the writers clearly wanted to give an opportunity for this character to be flushed out, especially because it's not a movie, it's a mini series. Right. So that means you have more time, and you're figuring out how to allow her to grow into the hero she was meant to be. Yeah. You gave Tony that space. You gave Scott Lang that space. Thor was the biggest asshole on the planet, was willing to start wars just because of his warrior thirst. And his daddy had to be like, no, you're a bitch. You're not worthy. You need to show that you're worthy. Yeah. Black Widow was an assassin. Yes, she was forced in it as a child, but she murdered people. She talks all the time about her ledger. The Hulk is a rage monster that has killed God knows how many people just because he couldn't keep his anger under control. I really need people to take a step back and look at why they are so quick to judge the character fully and not give this time to just blossom. And if it's all said and done and it's just a bad show because it's a bad show, that is a completely different story. Right, but that's not what's going on right now, honestly.
Yeah, I think I agree with a lot of what you're saying. Although I didn't think the first 3 episodes were as strong as I would like them to be. I liked Dominique Thorne, and I liked what she was doing. I liked what the show was presenting, the trauma of that all, and really bringing in Natalie as her AI, so she has to confront the loss, confront the trauma. that was genius, especially because of nowadays how we're dealing with AI and how AI is just barreling through into our lives. I think what they did there was really interesting, and especially when she pops up for her mom, and when her mom and her are having that conversation, that was the moment that I was like, God, I want more with the mother. I want to see more with her, because she's been a little bit kind of sidelined in the first 3 episodes. So seeing the kind of emotion that she has, seeing Natalie, and then her saying, can you bring Gary back? Holy shit, man, that stopped me cold watching that moment. So I think when
something that's happening in the news.
Exactly. And I think when it I know I saw someone do that the other day. They showed a video, an AI video of a picture they had with their mother, and like it brought it to life and did all this, and I was scared out of my mind. Like that was
Black Mirror too. That shit is also terrifying.
Fair point. How far does that go? That's the scary part. So you see that in the way they process it. So for me, when it sticks with her, the show really works. It's when you bring in the United Colors of Benetton, Keystone Cops type of Three Stooges characters that are robbing stuff that where I think it gets a little bit like ridiculous, because the security guards look like they work the night shift at the 7-Eleven. And these are people protecting billions or millions of dollars of equipment. And so I think they should have upped the game a little bit there. I think there's too many characters and should just focus on a couple. That being said, I think the Hood's brother is fantastic. Manny Montana, I think he does a really great job.
I loved him in Good Girls.
Yes,
he was great in that show.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think Ramos is not quite up to snuff to play the Hood, but maybe, as I've heard, the next 3 episodes are good. He's going to have more real estate. Yeah.
Sure. Huh? He'll have more room to breathe, especially now that, spoiler alert, I mean, we're spoiler talk, that his cousin is dead. The one person keeping him human as he slowly turns into a demon. So I think all of that, and I think the last thing that really like sticks out in my mind that I think went over people's head. Yeah. You got to remember that this AI is built off of her brainwaves, right? Right. They're intrinsically connected. So the reason why when the gun was being pointed at Riri and she's like, close the mask, Natalie froze because Riri was having a panic attack. Yes. So it is another drawn line of her PTSD. That's what I meant about people's media literacy is not all the way there. That was actually pretty obvious in my opinion. And so people to be like, it just doesn't make any sense. I'm like, how? Like how? I don't get it. And I worry. I genuinely worry not just about this show. I worry about the state of art, period, because this isn't the first time that we have seen some stuff and from people that we know and respect or don't know or that are all over the internet on all levels have had really bad readings of media. And I'm like, how did you miss that? It was right there. So it's not a coincidence that the media, the punditry sphere, is full of predominantly white pundits who maybe don't get what's going on or understand what's going on, or, as you said, don't have the media literacy to connect to what is being shown to them, because that's not their existence. It's not what they grew up with. And so it's a different thing. So I'm not saying that they can't get it. Of course, people can get it. But some of the media literacy, as you said, has kind of gone by the wayside. And so it needs to get called out. It needs to get put on the table and looked at. So I think it's fair. I do think sometimes there's unfaithful arguments incorrect arguments being made, like lumping in all these shows and be like, oh, see, the only reason people don't like it is because it's female-led. That's not the only reason. There are legitimate criticisms with each of the shows, and to just dismiss any criticism as just gender-based, I think is incorrect. But it is correct that there are people who are not liking these shows because they are female-led. That is fair. I think it's fair. But to say that all the criticism is only led by that, I think is incorrect and an unfaithful argument to make that doesn't help the conversation to move forward. I agree. We sort of touched on this a little bit with Capes and Cows, not with this story, but with something else. But this idea of nobody's actually being honest. Everybody's just trying to score. It's the same argument that you and I have had back. I mean, we seem to be more or less on the same page with Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, but the way that the bad faith arguments would be, it's because I need to score one for my team. That's all that because or the hate sells. It's one or the other that is always the case, because the truth of the matter is, to pretend like there is not a racial bias that's driving a lot of Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese is to be disingenuous. It doesn't mean that Caitlin isn't really the main star power that's pulling a lot of eyes in. But that's where a lot of that is. There's a lot of people that want to see this loud black woman fail. Now, she doesn't always do herself favors, if we're just being honest, the way that she sometimes goes about things. But there's that. So same thing with a lot of these shows. I said this. I really enjoyed She-Hulk. I did not like the ending. My issue with the ending was I don't have a problem with you doing the Kevin thing, but I want to see the ending. I don't want you to just go, and then we do this, and everybody's fine, and you go to jail, and I did it. That's not a fun ending. That's actually the exact opposite of what we want. I'm not saying it has to be a knockout, drag out, but get more creative. Maybe a little bit of a fight, and you're like, no, I'm losing too much. And then here comes Bruce, and he saves me. I don't know, but it wasn't that for me.
I don't disagree with you. I thought that ending was a colossal misstep. It was completely unearned, and it was meta for all the wrong reasons. And it didn't work at all. I agree with you. So that's the thing. And I agree with you, Winston, as well. I think the conversations in the middle are being lost because everyone is trying to score points on opposite sides. And it's, again, like everything in our world now, everything is tribes, everything is tribalistic, everything is, if you don't think the way I think, then you're wrong. Or if you don't believe the way I believe, then you're doing it for this reason. And you're either racist or a sexist, or on the other side, you're a woke son of a bitch, or this is bull. They're shoving this down our throat. So we've got to find that middle ground in having conversations about this kind of stuff, recognizing if there are legitimate issues, but also pointing out if people are being unfaithful in their arguments. And so I think that's super important.
I'll be honest with you, like, people ask, I can give him the occasional, okay, good for you, he did a good thing with Trump, but people want to know why I hate him so much. Because he has made it okay for people to just rage bait everything.
Yes, 100%.
He has taken away, he is essentially given the stamp of approval to so many people to not actually be intellectual and kind and human.
Right.
And took it to the nth degree of, no, I'm just going to slam you. I'm going to say something bigoted. I'm going to say something to undercut you. And it's infected everybody. It's, in my opinion, worse with his base, but everybody has given into the hate at this point, that everything is to slam shit. I'm not going to pretend like I don't laugh my ass off when I hear beach blonde, bad built butch body. But at the same time, I'm not saying we shouldn't clap back. Don't just sit there and keep taking it on the chin.
Right.
But I would rather that we stop acting like assholes and actually get shit done and protect people. You know what I'm saying? I would prefer that we could be honest about, oh man, this movie, this isn't because it's woman-led. This isn't because it's black-led. This isn't because it's whatever. It's just not a good thing. But we can't do that because while we may be saying that from a solid place, there are too many people that are being like, and that's why you don't need bitches in movies. Like that's literally how they talk. And so then any attack on your team feels like a vicious one.
People say, like, MK Somber says, middle ground doesn't lead to engagement, which is unfortunately what the current economic structure of online content creation sphere demands. Exactly, which is why when people come at me and go like, oh, you suck, you don't have 100,000 subscribers. Yes, because I don't try to farm it that way. Now, listen, Christian's separate situation. He's not a rage monster, but Christian's been doing this for 20 years. He has built-in audiences that build the things that he's got, and he's good at it. But I build my way, and I can look myself in the mirror that I'm not trying to rage bait or rage engage or do anything like that. These are my legitimate opinions. And when I'm doing a review, even if I don't like it, I try to find something that I did enjoy, because honestly, when you watch something, it's rarely 100% everything is trash. Like, there are movies like that, but it's really rare. There are some elements, and even within my review and my reaction to Ironheart, which I thought there were some issues with the group, and there were some fantastical moments that didn't really work for me. I made sure to focus on the relationship between Natalie and Riri, because that is a very sweet relationship. The relationship with Riri and Alden Ehrenreich's character, I know it's spoiler talk, but I don't want to spoil that far. Sure. And then the AI stuff, I thought that was really smart to have that conversation. Absolutely. So to me, there's stuff to enjoy here. It didn't 100% all work for me, but there's stuff to enjoy now moving forward. Will the next 3 episodes fulfill that promise? We will see.
I'm trying to think I see in the comments, somebody says, what's a movie that's 100% trash? And I'm genuinely trying to think of one. and where I was, because I haven't walked out of a movie since I was like a kid.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to think if there's one. The closest in recent memory, and it still wasn't 100% trash. Like I laughed a lot. The Crow remake, I would say it was like really bad. Like I'm giving that like half a star. Like it's really, really bad. Yeah. But I wouldn't say it's a complete colossal failure. There was some cool action sequences. I liked some of the music, but like one of the things that doesn't make sense. We're watching this man that is clearly some sort of demon, hell spawn, whatever, murder all these other guards. None of the guards go, oh hell no, and run. You've seen your homie put a shotgun through his chest, and homie just and then looks up. I'm out of there, bro. Fuck that. I need just one person. It would have been funny, but it would have been real. And that was the one thing, is that I needed it to either be fully, this is not real, or this is a supernatural event with some real shit. It's why I also can't stand most Tyler Perry movies. Like Straw was absurd. Did you see Straw?
No, I don't watch his stuff, bro. I can't patronize his stuff. I just can't.
I tried
one and I was like, oh no. But I mean, it's nice that he put Sinbad in the movie. I was happy about that. I love Sinbad.
That was great. Taraji is incredibly talented. I only watched it. I only watched it because I actually auditioned for the movie. I didn't know at the time it was a Tyler Perry movie. You take a wild guess what role I auditioned for, Rocha.
You're lighter, so what does that mean? I think you're
going off the Winston Jerome from the Boondocks and shit.
I mean, because we talked about it last week, so that's in my head. But what did you audition for?
Rocha, I auditioned for, I don't know whose idea this was. I auditioned for like the 60, 70-year-old man that was there with his wife, be like, see, y'all damn kids, y'all don't want nothing. You just want to take whatever. In what world am I older than Taraji? And I'm out here be like, you damn kids, it just like doesn't even make sense. So I read the lines and I was like, this feels like it's an older dude. Right. I don't know if this fits me, but I'll do the audition because the casting director themselves, big casting director for Black film. So I was like, I'll go for it.
Yeah.
But I just was like, huh? And so I watched the movie. Bro, when they talk about all this man does is throw trauma porn at Black women, my God.
Oh, yeah. No, 100%. 100%. You know, years and years ago, I used to work a job testing DVDs. It was a soul-sucking hellhole of a job. And a guy there who I really liked and respected was like, Tyler Perry was just getting like famous for the stuff that he's doing. And he had seen it. This is a Black gentleman. He had seen a couple of these movies. And he said to me, he goes, Rocha, you could write this for Spanish people. And I go, what do you mean? He's like, you could do you could be the Latino Tyler Perry. And I'm like, I am not going to write this kind of female torture porn or trauma porn rather for Latino women. That's insane. I couldn't look myself in the mirror. Dude. Right. But Tyler does it and people eat it up and love it, man. So it's crazy. He's got a fucking empire down there in Atlanta.
I mean, it also is what makes, because the other thing about it is because he bases it in so much of like Christian everything and God will see you through. And if you do it hit the Chitlin circuit, which for those that aren't familiar, that's essentially the Black folk. Think of the Bible Belt, but specifically like Black folk in the South, obviously Black folk around the country, but you specifically hit that Southern Christian Black audience.
Totally.
And they latched on, especially if it always, like some of the tropes that we all laugh at, like Medea is a big mama. We've all seen one way or the other and things like that. Those characters do truly exist.
Right.
But then Jesus saves every time. And I think it worked as plays. When he was doing the plays, I was actually like, nah, this makes sense for a play. The minute you started putting it in movies, again, now you're hitting trauma porn, because some of that was a lot of improv and things like that. And theater is always a little bit more fantastical. And now white people be like, see, this is exactly how niggas be. Look at them. Look at them go. So to the fact that you had Tom Hanks on Black Jeopardy being like, what is a Medea Halloween? If you can laugh and pray in one movie, now that's a good outing. Like, what the fuck?
Yes. It's so true. You know what's crazy? There is no white Tyler Perry. There is no Latino Tyler Perry. He has cornered the market with these kinds of movies because they have yielded successful financial returns for him. And of course, he barely pays people above the line. They get paid below the line. There's all kinds of stories about how rumored allegations about how little he pays them and how hard he works these people with the promise that they're going to be working in Hollywood type of thing. And so you see that he runs that business in a certain way. And so, but he has been able to mix faith with these trauma situations. No other filmmakers have been able to do it consistently at this level. And it's amazing in one way, and it's sad in another, to be honest, because people still come back and watch this crap. And it's mind-blowing to me too. And he attracts some really fantastic. I mean, Taraji P. Henson is a fucking incredible actress. Dude, Cicely Tyson was up in one of his fucking movies. I was going crazy.
Did you ever see in 2013 he put out a goddamn movie called Temptation: Confessions of a Marriage Counselor? Did you ever see that one? Because that was the one where that was Journey. It was Journey Smollett.
Journey Smollett.
Yes. She cheated on her husband with her boss. She got this job at this corporation. She cheated on her husband with her boss like one time. And there's this big blow up. And so she automatically just starts screwing her boss all the time. Because then it turns out her boss has AIDS. So Journey's character just automatically gets AIDS and then is addicted to heroin. And that's the price you pay for cheating on your husband one time. Like, I was just like, you've got to be kidding me, bro. Like, I'm not pro cheating, but I'm also like, that's not the astronomical odds of that happening from one stray is insane. It's literally insane. Like, what the hell?
Yeah, again. And who's in that film? Brandy's in that film.
Brandy's Kim Kardashian.
Vanessa Williams is the way you're doing this. Vanessa. But you know, he pays these people to be in this film. And like, it's no different than like Samuel L. Jackson's in 70 films a year. Michael Caine used to be. If you can meet the quota for some of these people, they'll totally come and do it because they're not responsible for the content. But that's the situation. He's able to create an empire. I don't know how the fuck we got on that from Ironheart, but here we are.
Oh my crazy. God.
Well, I'm going to make a left turn here because you did mention Caitlin and Angel Reese, and I did want to talk about this. Did you see Joy Taylor's comments this week about the situation with Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese? And I know we're kind of
where.
You haven't seen this? Oh, well,
it just depends on where it is. Because if you're talking about a Breakfast Club interview, I did see that, but I don't remember.
So she was speaking on the Joe Budden podcast, and
no, I wasn't. I didn't. No.
Okay, she said it's now like spun to this whole thing where it's like Caitlin is better than Angel. I just said we would not be talking about Caitlin Clark the way we do if it wasn't for that moment with Angel Reese. She said she is willing to die on that hill multiple times. And this is she says that the only reason Caitlin Clark was as big is because of what happened with Angel Reese. And I think, again, we're in a place where it's a bad faith argument because Caitlin was already becoming a transcendent superstar before the moment with Angel Reese. People were paying attention to her. She was blowing it away in college. So I think that's a bad faith argument. They're like, well, Angel, she wouldn't be where she was if it wasn't for Angel. That's not true. And so to me, I think this is where I think racism, I think there's racial approaches from both sides. And that to me gets a little frustrating because we just need to hit that middle area where we understand Angel is a damn good player. She's breaking records, whatever. People want to make fun of her. It's terrible that they're doing that, but she's rebounding like crazy. She is not Caitlin. She's not a guard. She's not Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark's doing different things. And so I don't know why people who say they don't want these people connected constantly talk about how these people came connected. It's just frustrating for me because it just becomes a law of diminishing returns in the conversation.
That's fair. You're not going to like what I'm going to say.
Okay, go ahead. Yes.
But I can easily agree Caitlin is a lot better than Angel. I will admit up front. Right. If we're just talking about on the court,
Yes.
It has been proven enough times. I get a lot of the things that Angel was doing last year, but Caitlyn's game has improved, and it doesn't necessarily feel like the biggest issue that Angel had, which was her ability to actually score, has changed all that much. But she hasn't like then become a rebounder that's also a defensive powerhouse where she's blocking all these shots. Like if she'd added that to a repertoire along with it, then it'd be a different story. Either you up your defense or you up your offense. Let's get that out of the way up top.
Fair enough.
Joy is right to an extent about that. It doesn't mean that Caitlyn wouldn't have necessarily gotten there, but let's not pretend that the protect the white girl scenario did not amplify so much. You had people that had no interest paying attention to them at all, no matter how good Caitlyn was, that they would not have watched if it wasn't be like, what the hell does she think she did? And again, you're talking about in the middle of a Trump election year where race shit is already in the middle of stuff. There were so many things, and I take that back because they won in 23. So it would have been the you can't see me would have been 23. But the idea of some black girl getting in Caitlyn's face, this nice white girl from Iowa that was balling out of control. How dare she? She's not wrong about that. Now, mind you, would Caitlyn again have been a star on her own? Yes, of 100%. Course she would have. I wouldn't take that away from her, but the controversy absolutely slingshotted her from if she was already on the top of the Rocky Mountains, threw her ass on to Everest. Because now all of a sudden they wanted to see the white girl ball in these girls' faces and be like, yep, see, look at her. You can't do now. We can see her now. Like the amount of people that got so rage baited by this, which is stupid to me because we have never said that about any of the people, any of the men playing sports like that. That shit happens all the time. And we've talked about this too. We have never gotten upset about shit like that. We got upset about dirty plays.
Yes.
But we've never gotten upset about a man having bravado and bragging in front of somebody else. The exception to the rule that I think was most recent was Halliburton's dad intentionally running on the court to go put
exactly. That's
and he's not, but he's also not the player. That is, you were a family. Get out of what the fuck are you doing? Like, go away. That's that. And so to me, that was different. But we have never, when you be like, I'm him, Rocha. Right. You missed that. We have never.
The small thing when they go small. Yeah. Of course.
Never. Every time Steph does this shit and he's doing it in front of the fans, we ain't never. Right. Whenever you see the Reggie Miller doing this with the choke, we ain't never been like, oh. Right. And so that
LeBron stomp.
None of that. None of that. Anybody that was, they were like, dude, shut up. What are you talking about? And so that to me is really where the major difference was. And that is where Joy is correct. There is something very specific. As Malcolm X said, the most disrespected person in America is a black woman. The most unprotected person in America is a black woman. The minute this black woman had the audacity to go up to this super talented white girl who was out here balling her ass off in the moment that she lost this title, if you notice, Caitlyn let that shit go and didn't give a fuck, but everybody else started speaking for her. Joy is right about that part.
Yeah, it's fair. Caitlyn knows it's part of the game. She's gonna talk shit. She's gonna get shit talked back.
She talks so much shit.
I'm never gonna deny that. Caitlyn, I mean, when they had that game against when they shoved her down, the game against the Connecticut Sun a few days ago, like when she started dropping those threes in that Ohio State player's face, former Ohio State player's face, like she was jawing to that girl because of the defense and poking her in the eye. So you saw that. I like that as an element of the game. I don't like the physical stuff like Mabry coming in and shoving her to the ground. I fucking hate that. I don't care if you're Caitlyn or Angel or anybody. I hate that. I don't think that should be in the game. But like, it is what it is. You see it all the time. Draymond does it. Jesus Christ, made a whole career out there.
I mean, Charles Barkley and Larry Bird used to throw the most famous where I saw an interview where Charles was like, no, I was trying to protect Bird from fighting, but it looked like I was holding Bird to get punched, and they owe me money. I ain't even. I was not setting him up. I swear.
But I think the ring thing made a star out of Angel. I don't know if Angel would have been as big of a star without it. So I think Joy's wrong on that end. That she says it made Caitlyn the star. Like I think it made Angel. It added to Caitlyn's stardom, but it didn't make Caitlyn's stardom. But what you bring up is something I hadn't thought about. It did increase people who intrinsically don't like loud black women or don't like black people in general, or black women in general.
Women's sports, if we're being honest, this whole idea of protect women's sports, it's from people that have never once in their life watched a women's sports game unless their daughter or their cousin had a game they had to go to.
Oh, like 100%. Pretty much everyone is saying protect women's sports, just about, except for maybe Martina Navratilova, have never played it or never been good at it or never couldn't name you 5 current female athletes aside without. You can't say Caitlin Clark. They might not be able to name one.
I would say you're not allowed to say the number 1 person in each sport. So you can't say Caitlin, and I'll throw in Asia Wilson in there. You can't say Serena Williams. You can't say Simone Biles. You know what I'm saying? So take off literally the number 1 of everybody. You can give me all the number 2s if you want, but you can't say a single number 1. And let's see what you do. And I bet you a lot of people would be struggling.
100%, including Riley Gaines, who's made a whole goddamn career out of pushing that bullshit.
Being a 5th place player. Like, okay.
We should have let her win that race. If she was going to take it like this, we should have let her win that race, for God's sakes. What a big, But yeah, I wanted to talk it out with you because I had some feelings about it, and with Joy, and Joy's getting destroyed, of course, from Whitlock and others, but I wanted to kind of navigate the nuances of the things Joy was saying. And explore it. So I appreciate you doing that.
Caitlin, in my opinion, we can never know because we don't live in that other reality.
Right.
I believe that Caitlin would have probably still gotten to the tip top of where she is as far as her stardom. However, the truth of the matter is it either would have taken longer or if not that, she would have never necessarily hit the overt peak, because this is the nitrous boost, unfortunately, of racism in America that is launched into a whole different area. And it's not to take away from her talents and the fame that she already had, but to pretend that has not been at the core of this. This has been, if it's not the A story, it's at least the B story this entire time, and to not act like that. That's my problem. And that's what we're even talking about when we were mentioning movies earlier of like, can we have an honest discussion about this is a bad movie for these reasons versus this was just woke, shrill shit. Now you're just being a racist asshole. Now you're just being a sexist asshole. Like,
I saw someone, I can't remember, I saw one of the critics say that about Elia, which, by the way, I got to see. It's a fucking really good movie. I'm so heartbroken that a Pixar film with a Latino lead, a Latino aunt there as the co-lead, is getting destroyed at the box office. It's a damn good movie, and no one's going to see it. Heartbreaking. Yeah, it's so good. It's so sweet. And it spoke my language, being kind of a pudgy, bowl haircut kid growing up who was beat up by bullies and was into NASA and space and all of that.
I will go see it. I from the marketing from it, it didn't necessarily seem like something that I was innately just like drawn to, if I'm being honest. It had nothing to do with the main character. Most of the time I was like, so wait, they're releasing Lilo and Stitch at the same time?
I mean, like, kind of you look at it. But someone was getting upset because they called the coming together of the planets the Communiverse, and they were like, this is Disney pushing communism. They're not even trying to hide it. And I was like, are you a mental, like, what is wrong with you to say something so stupid like that? It's community.
He has done some heinous and actually deadly things. But the worst thing that Trump ever did was give the green light for stupidity and bigotry. And it happens constantly. And it drives me crazy because I can look at Republicans in the past. I don't love Mitt Romney, but I can look at Mitt Romney and go, hey, a lot of times, no, he's still a civil dude, and like whatever, he's fighting for his cause for the right reasons versus all of this grifting shit. That is what pisses me off. That is why when people are like, you got Trump derangement. No, I'm tired of bullshit. That is what I'm tired of.
The same people who tell you that you got Trump derangement syndrome have Biden derangement syndrome, have Obama derangement syndrome, have Pelosi derangement syndrome.
Scream, let's go, Brandon, at every single point. And they're like, well, you don't walk around with a Biden hat on. I was like, yeah, because I don't rock for him like that. He is a public servant. Do your job and get the fuck out my face. Like,
I don't need to suck a politician's dick to support them.
He's never gonna notice you guys.
He doesn't care about you.
Diamond and Silk were the biggest. I love me some Trump, and then went to the funeral of one of them and didn't know which one was motherfucking which. Like, like, what are we we talking about? This man has cared about nobody but himself his entire life. Get out of my face.
He's deporting Latino for Trump supporters. He's deporting them right to their face. Like, it's just insane to me how these people are like, oh, no, I still probably might vote for him. And it's like, oh, get out of here, man. It's not a cult, my ass. Anyway, all right. So let's get some questions because we got to get out of here, Winston. There was a couple more topics, but we're running out of time. So we got to get to it because I got to eat dinner as well. So let's get to the questions here. We got 15 of them. Nice. Very nice.
Wow.
Corn Empire says Winston and Rocha for the win, except on Christian Harloff Roxy one.
Oh, that's rude. That's rude as fuck. You know what, Corn Empire? If you had, supported me more today, I maybe could have beaten her. But
I mean, 223. Who was beating that, for God's sake?
I wasn't coming even close, bro. I think I had like 69.
Dalton Leprick says Dog Beach recommendations in San Diego, anywhere from Oceanside and south of there. My wife, Big Dog, and I heading there from Tempe in 2 weeks. I wish I could, Dalton. I don't have a dog. We occasionally take care of my Lady Outlaw's sister's dogs, but she's the one that goes to the dog parks with them. I hang out and take care of them here. I'm not really going out to these kind of areas type person, so I couldn't recommend anything to you. But there's good stuff in San Diego. Oceanside's all right, and you can get into some good dog beaches. Do the research; it's there. So sorry I couldn't help, brother. Corn Empire says hopeful Batman of DCU will be a different actor. Okay, probably. Any chance Blade sneaks into Spider-Man 4? Ooh.
Not. I don't think Mahershala.
No, they've got what, Hulk and Punisher now. I don't know that you want to slide in Blade.
I think that's too much. And you should watch my video. I think the pivot for Spider-Man is gonna, sure, Blade and Punisher are involved. I think he's gonna ultimately be the leader of the Young Avengers. I don't think he's gonna be a leader on the Avengers. I think he's going to be like the adult in the room. He's kind of college age, and most of them are pretty young, with the exception of Kate Bishop. He's been on the real Avengers. Bitch, you've been to space. All of the reasons why he actually understands what's going on and can be a leader to these other young heroes.
Yes. So I agree with that. That's a good point. Yeah. I'm Two Fly Cam says, let Superman have its day, then Supergirl give us our Wonder Woman, and by then we can have our Batman DCU decision. Why do we need an announcement from Gunn now? Well, I think because there's confusion. There's no confusion on Supergirl. There's no confusion on Superman. There's no confusion on Wonder Woman. There is confusion on Batman, and people want to kind of figure out what's happening. Look, again, you can say we don't need it, and then there are other people who say we do need it. So it's both opinions are allowed to exist in the world that we're in now. So it's a matter of, can you figure it out and put it in motion so people can have something to look forward to? Listen, the world right now is a goddamn shit show. So people want to escape into their fantasies more than ever. I think F1 is going to do gangbusters because people want to escape into a movie like that. So them wanting to look forward towards a Batman and get ideas about what this Batman's going to be, that's part of the reason why people want to know what the situation is.
And I totally get that. I tend to lean a little more towards Two Fly Cam in the sense of, like, I do think one of the things that we're having trouble with as a society is we can't live in the present. We're already on to the future. And I understand the present is not a very fun place right now. Like, let's keep it a buck. But I think we're eating really good with media this year. Like,
and we're
Sinners was fantastic. F1 is fantastic. Like, Superman looks like it's going to be really good. Fantastic Four, like, is going to be really good.
Yep.
I kind of agree for the time being. Great. The script is there. We know that Pattinson's going to be doing his part 2. Awesome.
Yeah,
let's be off Batman for a while. Let's focus on what we have in front of us. Eat your vegetables. And these are candied vegetables, man. You be the candy yams. It ain't even fucking broccoli. It's candy yams. Like chill.
Good point. And we've got The Bear and Squid Game both out now.
They both dropped. Like, I forgot.
Yeah, they're both out. Corn Empire says, thoughts on Tetsuo the Iron Man, please. Oh man, Tetsuo I remember that 1989. Oh God, what's his name? Shinya Tsukamoto. Yes, the director. Like, I remember way back when I was temping for a gentleman named Charles Seegers. He was one of the producers on what's the one with Nicolas Cage where he's National Treasure? He wanted to do a Japanese adaptation. So he had me go and look up a bunch of Japanese movies. I pitched him Battle Royale. I pitched him a bunch of things to possibly do as American adaptations. And Tetsuo the Iron Man was the one that we were really trying to put in motion, because I like that movie a lot.
It sounds wild. I've never seen this before.
It's such an awesome little 1980s gem that hardly anyone has seen. It's like a little club, but the club is a fervent club in support of that movie. So good reference, Corn Empire. I haven't thought about Tetsuo the Iron Man in quite some time, but yeah, it's an interesting little film.
My watch list.
I mean, commentary on technology from the late 1980s is fascinating. Reggie Brown, what's up, Reggie? He says, you guys see video of a black woman demand her keys from a North Carolina auto store because they was making fun of Juneteenth. They got so much hate they had to delete their Facebook. I did not
see a video of a black woman demand her keys from a North Carolina auto store because they were making fun of June. Oh,
I did not see this.
Well, good.
Yeah.
Was it? I saw a random video and I just thought it was like kind of snarky and not necessarily like serious about a guy being like, hey, shouldn't we be celebrating Juneteenth? Because, set him free that day. Like some stupid shit like that. And I was like, you motherfucker. Like I was like, that's both funny and not funny. I'm so mixed on that. And especially I think the reason why it bothers me is I remember the way I get it. Yeah. With Kwanzaa, but I remember how that used to get talked about. I didn't necessarily want Juneteenth to be a federal holiday because it was just something that was very special in Texas for black folk. I'm glad more black folk are celebrating it and know about it now, but they are trying to make it a joke and all sorts of stupid shit now. So
I agree. It's terrible. So here's the story real quick. A black North Carolina woman waiting to have her truck serviced decided to spend her money elsewhere after two employees and another customer appeared to mock Juneteenth. The woman, who was the only black person in Synergy Auto Care in Wilson, North Carolina at the time, told an employee to give me my fucking truck, pull my truck around, please, pull my truck around and give me my truck. I don't want nothing done here. Go get my truck. She turned and left the store. She was triggered by a conversation between a customer and employee. The customer had asked why banks were closed on Thursday. The employee responded, Juneteenth, a new holiday they started a few years ago. The customer replied with an eye-rolling, sarcastic tone, okie dokie. And then another Synergy employee standing at the corner joined in laughing, going, I know, right? Something about reparations or something. And that is what apparently set this person off. And you know what? Good for her. Good for her. Man. People joking about this shit.
That's fucking disgusting.
I mean, if you enslaved white people, they'd be celebrating all kinds of holidays the day they were let go. So come on. It's so fucking nuts with these people just don't have even the most basic level of empathy about a situation,
And that again, that is my problem. That's why I don't F with him and I never can, because he has made it okay to just be awful.
Oh yeah, 100%. 100%. It's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking. And that we didn't get into, but that SCOTUS ruling today scares the living hell out of me for what's coming next.
Man, because like, look, there is a complete difference of, hey man, Chung Lee, like she had them thighs, and like having that joking conversation, and then actually belittling fucking people about shit.
Right.
But those are two very different things.
Yeah, 100%. Tim Bino 21 says, thoughts on the Ace Bailey situation with the Jazz. Are you up on this, Winston? My man did not take the plane into Utah.
I also heard that Ainge apparently is the most stubborn bastard on the planet, and so like was told ahead of time, don't draft me, I won't go.
He was supposed to like,
he was supposed to give off. He was like, you think I give off? And then drafted him, and now he's like, I won't go.
Yeah, sit out, bitch. Deal with it. Yeah.
What I really hope is we find out that Ace Bailey is actually also a genius, and he's like, I have a very promising like engineering career, so that's fine, bro. Like, I don't need basketball. I like basketball, which is something I hate about Gen Z as they're getting into the NBA personally, because there's something about like a bleed for this sport that like made it so good to watch. But at the same time, stand your ground. The Mannings got to do that shit. So why not you?
Yeah, Manning's who was Drew Brees got to do that shit. A lot of these players got to play their games a certain way. Why not? If Ace feels this way, I know I see a lot of pundits getting upset. Who is this kid to do this? Man, the same people who tell you to not stand up for yourself are the same people who like tell you need to stand up for yourself. It's so funny. Like, you can stand up for yourself only in certain situations, not in this situation. bitch, if you're going to tell people to stand up for themselves, they're going to stand up for themselves in all situations. And you need to respect that. And because these people never had the talent that someone like Ace Bailey has as a player. And I'm not talking about former players. That's a whole other ballgame. But these pundits, it's just fucking mind-blowing to me. The guy has a right to decide where he wants to play. And if he doesn't want to play in what has historically been racist Utah, that's his fucking decision. And he wants to go someplace else, make it happen, And I think I got no problems with what he's doing because Danny Ainge's a prick. And I'm sure his son didn't fall far from that fucking tree. So
no, and I'm laughing because somebody goes, Winston Ace is a freshman and not the sharpest guy in the draft, according to analysis. So basketball really is everything. So stay your ground, boy. But I don't know what to tell you.
That makes it all the more impressive that he's standing his ground because he's willing to risk it, I guess. He's risking the biscuit. Chris Corcoran, 4515 says, thoughts on Zohran Mamdani's victory in the New York City mayoral primarily. Dude is going to be the blueprint for Dems going forward. It's so Cuomo-over. I don't know much about this guy. I didn't research much about this guy. He won, and the voters have spoken. But I tell you, some of those videos, man, people are passionate about supporting this dude. I don't know if I was on TikTok. I saw this minute video of dudes yelling into a microphone how much they love Zoran, male and female, young male and females yelling into the microphone and making fun of Andrew Cuomo like crazy. So look, I love the fact that he scared the MAGA establishment, that they're trying to strip him of his citizenship and get him deported. That's because they're fucking scared. And so, I respect that. Go ahead. Yeah.
Look, he feels like if AOC and Bernie actually did the fusion dance and became one, because the biggest concern that I've always had with Bernie is old as shit. Yeah. I don't want any more 80-something-year-olds running the country. I don't. So as much as I like a lot of Bernie's ideas, there was a whole other conversation about Bernie Bros back in the day on top of that, where similar to the Caitlin Clark scenario, people don't actually want to talk about there was some overt racism happening with Bernie, not that he did, but that Bernie Bros would do.
Yeah.
And it was always like, that's not happening. I don't know what you're talking about. And that is not helpful. Yes. So to take the youth and being a person of color of AOC and essentially, I guess, throw in the fact that Bernie's a male, you're putting the two together, you made this dude, and he's been a star on the rise. He's had the bars. He's been in the community, actually, and he was able to harp on the right thing. Here are the things that I want for the country, for the city. Yeah. And even when he's then asked about Israel and whatnot, he's like, okay, I am trying to be the mayor of New York, not the mayor of anywhere in Israel. So I want to focus on New York. And to continue to say that is what you should be doing in the first place. What is actually the title that you're taking, and what is your job? Your job is to run New York, not to be a liaison to Israel, not to whatever other things they want to go on about.
Exactly. And that's all changing. And I think it's great that it's changing because we allow more people in the tent to talk.
Also, let me be real quick. I love AOC. I personally love AOC. I know people that don't. I love her. I'm just saying we also have to understand it's been made very clear now multiple times that we are also still very sexist. We are a racist country. We're a sexist country. Just by the nature of him being a male takes one of those things out of the way. Right. It doesn't mean he's not getting attacked left and right. The Islamophobia has been insane. Him.
100%. Like how could New York, who suffered 9/11, elect a guy who was Muslim? Was like, his mom is Mira Nair, who's a director, a fucking Hollywood film director. It's all fear. It's all fear because this is what they fear. The weaponizing of AOC can destroy MAGA, and they're fucking afraid of that. So go ahead.
Dude, did you see somebody after Charlie Kirk posted that nonsense about, a Muslim attacked 9/11, 2,000 something lives?
Community college dropout, Charlie Kirk. Yes, go ahead.
Yes. Well, that's actually part of it too. He said something along the lines of like you said, the 2,000 something lives were lost when a Muslim attacked New York, and now we're going to let a Muslim lead New York. It seems stupid. Somebody on TikTok goes, the largest shooting that has ever happened on American soil was by a white man college dropout. So Charlie Kirk, we're just going to let you continue to have a mouthpiece on any sort of platform, and went down the laundry list of John Wayne Gacy and all the motherfuckers.
City bomber, the Oklahoma City bomber.
All of them went through all of them and how they were related to Charlie Kirk as a white man or as a white dropout or as all these things, and I'm just like,
yeah, that's the fucking truth. Please. Derek, what's up, Derek? Derek Johnson 9121 says, hey everybody, sorry I can't stay long. I want to say stay safe out there. I don't want to bring the show down, but if anybody needs immigration help, I have a former Chief Judge, Ryan Wood, who now works with Emeritus Law and other judges helping in immigration.
Wow.
Oh, that's great, Derek.
DJ,
so there you go,
dude,
guys.
you're the man.
Yeah, reach out to Derek. Let him know if you got any of those problems going on. And certainly with what happened today, I feel like all bets are off. They feel like they might be stripping people of citizenship, which is crazy. So I hope this is a situation that eventually has some legal pushback as it goes forward. But thank you, Derek, for the donation, and thank you, Derek, for letting people know that they can help you out and reach out to you for help. For sure.
And absolutely. And real quick, I see Jay Scotty in the chat. Name a country that isn't racist or sexist. You're right. Every country is racist or sexist in one way or the other. But you know what's very interesting? A lot of these other countries that also have racism or sexism in their roots have elected women.
Yeah. Yes.
Germany, England, like Mexico. Just with a female president. Like, what are we? Stop it. Stop pretending like we don't have a very unique extra problem here. We do.
Yeah, exactly. And because those countries don't put it into their ledger that all men are created equal and all this, there's not really a lot in their constitution that says that kind of stuff. We're the ones that say that. So therefore we deserve to get called out on it when we can't live up to that kind of stuff. Derek says, on a lighter note, loving the Ironheart series. Didn't think I would, honestly. Not even close to my favorite character, but it's growing on me. Love the channel, Rocha. Always a good show. Thank you, Derek. Thank you, Derek. Thanks for supporting, brother. And good to hear your thoughts on Ironheart. ES1390 says, Megan the Stallion is Chun. Oh, my.
I know that she's more of a Japanophile than like an Asiaphile.
Right.
But do not race swap Chun-Li. Don't do it. The thighs, yes. The thighs, perfect archetype. Now go find that woman, that Asian actress that has worked out with Megan the Stallion.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I need to find out.
Fantastic says, one thing with being in the middle is you don't get much attention when something is wrong. You have to cry bloody murder for someone to notice, so we condition ourselves to live in the extreme.
Sadly, yeah.
That's a fair point. Yeah, that's true. That's a fair point, Fred. You make a really astute observation there, bro. CC Black 1987 says Rocha F4 will win the July box office. We'll see. Maybe.
I think it's going to be Superman. And based off of the things I've heard about Jurassic World, I think Fantastic Four actually pull up number 2. Everybody kept swearing Jurassic World was going to be number 1. I get it, the dinosaurs, but I heard it's bad.
Yeah, I've heard it's bad as well, but that's never stopped Jurassic Park from making $1 billion. So who knows? Who knows?
But if it's like worse than normal,
yeah,
knowing how expensive movies are now,
not according to some of these critics who love every Jurassic Park movie. They think it's an utter blast, an action-packed, extraordinary film.
Okay.
Exactly. Let's see here. Reggie Brown says Richard Sherman against 49ers post game.
Exactly. As far as someone talking shit, don't you ever talk about me, LOB, which I get it. They did, but you remember what also happened? They let that shit go after about a week.
Yes,
that is the other thing about it. It also wasn't in the face of a player. It was in an interview on a microphone where he was yelling. Now, mind you, I thought that was stupid too. Leave the man alone. You decided to go and ask him a question as he was extremely charged after making a massive play that took him to the Super Bowl, and you want him to be composed? I'd be hyped too. So but they let that go after about a week or two. It was said and done. Why are we still talking about Angel doing this?
That's true.
Who Caitlyn was doing this to other people games before.
You like that? You like that? Paul Hitchcock, 2543 says, are we seeing the beginning of a Pedro backlash? I don't think so.
What did he do?
I know that just people are like saying he's in too many things. I think if he's really good and all, like the reason people are complaining about season 2 of Last of Us is because of what happened to him early in the season, because he wasn't available there for the other. So there's frustration when he's not in something. There's frustration when he's in something. So I don't think a backlash necessarily. I just think, Pedro's going to do what he's going to do.
Yeah, make his money. I mean, maybe if people feel that way, but I don't. I think he's doing great.
I think if he delivers bad performances, then there might be a backlash, but not now. CC Black also says Doomsday is filming at Windsor Great Park this week. I think this is Latveria. Ooh, interesting.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Take pictures if you can. We'll put them up on the show. I'm not telling you. I don't want to violate anything. Cartoon 40 said thoughts on the New York City mayor race this week. I think we covered it. Yeah, exactly. I hope they don't try to kill him in the general. Andrew Cuomo said he was going to run in the general to try to mess with him, and so they'll basically hand the city over to a Republican because these bitches can't handle that.
Or back to Eric Adams. Ugh.
Or back to God, yeah, you lost. Take the hit. Well, we used to lose in this country and be like, you know what? I'm going to do better next time. Now it's always like, well, I got to find another way to win. What the fuck is wrong with y'all, man? Have some balls.
Have some dignity.
Have some dignity, sir. This is the Gilded Age, sir. Two things. Matt Thomas is in here. Matt says that Chun-Li has no cakes, as Winston says with Storm. If she ain't tall, I don't want it. If Chun-Li don't have cakes, I don't want it. Oh,
nope. That is. It's gonna sound wild.
Yeah,
but that is kind of a staple to her character, bro. In the same way that Ryu is Japanese, in the same way that Blanca is a green, like hulking of a monster. That Sagat is like 7 foot tall. That's part of what it is, because he's a 7 foot tall Muay Thai fighter, which makes him so damn dangerous. Like, there are just certain things that are just caked into it, and it's her cakes. I just
it's like Power Girl. Don't give me a Power Girl who ain't got what she's supposed to have upstairs. You know what I'm saying? Doug Developer says, saw Megan 2.0 in the theaters, and wow, no one laughed at the jokes, and I felt secondhand embarrassment. Is there a movie you have seen in the theaters in which no one laughed and it made you feel uncomfortable? Megan 2.0. He said no one laughed.
No, because I'm going tonight. Oh, no.
Yeah, I haven't heard good things. So, is there a movie you've seen? Is there a movie in theaters you've seen which no one laughed and it made you feel uncomfortable?
I
don't know. How about this? I've been in a movie theater where people laughed at a serious movie, and it made me stop feeling uncomfortable and made me enjoy it. Both Battle LA and Taken 3. The audience turned on both of those movies and started laughing, the LA audience, at so many of the serious lines. It was an amazing experience. I don't know if I've been in a theater where people didn't laugh. I was like,
off the top of my head, I can't think of it.
Yeah. Thank you, Doug, though. Appreciate it, brother. Thank you. And thanks to everyone who sent in Streamlabs super chats. We're a little bit over time, so we got to get on out of here. Thank you. Well over 200 of you hanging out with us for almost the entire show. Thank you so much.
Thank you, y'all.
Winston, another fun show. Please let people know where they can find you and follow your stuff, brother.
Absolutely. You can see right up top there at the Swaggy Blurred. Go to my YouTube channel. I got a video out right now of who I believe will be on Sam Wilson's Avengers. Now, again, the caveat, I say it early in the video, I am not saying the end-all, be-all Avengers. I'm saying at the end of Thunderbolts, you get the whole conversation about them now as the new Avengers, the Z, that they're being sued by Sam and his Avengers team. One, I do make a Drake Kendrick joke in there for sure. So if you really want to laugh, I got a lot of comedy in that thing. But two, my point is, this is the team that he puts together that we'll see essentially at the beginning of Doomsday. It does not mean that other players won't eventually join up with him when things get serious. But this is just who I think, like when you saw at the end of, what was it? Age of Ultron, when Cap had the team that he put together. It was not the standard 6 that started it off. It was a new crew. This is who I think Sam's crew that he assembles at the time that's how that will start. So check that out. YouTube.com/swaggyblurred. I'm going to put out my reviews for How to Train Your Dragon, Megan 2, and F1 in the next, if not tonight, tomorrow. I'm seeing Megan tonight, so it depends on how much I can get done before I go. So you'll get all of that in the next day or so. So come check that out.
Cool. Derek is coming in late here. Derek, thank you again. Saying, Rocha, I was saying to reach out to Ryan Wood. Okay. He's a good man, an excellent former judge who I used to work for. All right, Derek, good to know. People, if you have anyone you know who's dealing with any immigration stuff, write this gentleman's name down. Maybe you can get information or help. He also says, by the way, is this casting on Street Fighter serious? Are we going campy again with Street Fighter? If Chun doesn't have that buff thickness, don't want it. There you go. I didn't know we kept nervous.
I think we've converted you, but it feels like every brother in here's be like, yeah, Chun-Li ain't got them thighs. I don't want it.
I'm sure there's got to be some interesting videos on her thighs. And Derek, thank you again. Support. Have a great weekend,
DJ.
Thank you, Derek.
Thank you.
Always love you coming on the channel, brother. You're the best. All right, that was Winston A's plug at the Swaggy Bird. Don't forget to follow him and watch all this stuff for me at the Rocha Says on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Threads and Blue Sky. But also tomorrow, for you WWE fans, I will be doing a live watch along of Night of Champions from Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Thank God there's a supposed ceasefire, and these WWE wrestlers will hopefully be safe. But join me tomorrow live when I do that watch along. But as Winston said, I'll have my reviews as well up for F1 and for Megan 2.0 and other things going on. We shall see. All right, thank you all so much.
Hold on, look at Stephanie's comment, bro.
She said, I'm finally understanding why I get so much love from the brothers. I guess thighs are gold. Oh. Oh, hello. Jay Mobile says, I will shed a glory tear if Disney gets Spidey. Oh, a little Denzel Washington glory tear. Nice. Okay, there you go. All right, go see a movie, everybody. Go see The Bear. Go see the Squid Game. And we'll talk to you next time with another brand new episode here of Spill the Tequila. Take care, y'all. Peace.